You know, it's hard for me to get out of bed sometimes. But today, I saw a take so terrible that it made me jump out and just run straight here to record a video about it. And that take comes from Asmongold, about the new game coming out called Marathon. Now, I cannot play the take just yet because it has the F word in it and it's too early, so just give me 3 seconds to give you some background on what Marathon is. Marathon is Bungie's take on the extraction shooter genre, which personally I'm a big fan of, as I have like 700 hours on Tarkov. You know, stinky, but you know. And their characters are more futuristic punk. So as you can see, it's not really the status quo of, you know, Battlefield or Call of Duty looking shooters. And our boy Asmongold has a big old problem with it.
I think that pretty much every single circumstance, it's always a bad idea to make characters that are not conventionally attractive. Because this is, again, this is a shooter game, and shooter games are going to be primarily played by men. So if you're making a shooter game that's primarily made for men, then you should make sure that all of the female characters in the game are fuckable. And I know this might sound crazy to say, but I'm just going to say it. That's what you should do. That's what you should do. Because that's what people want to do. That's what girls will cosplay.
So you probably expect me to say, whoa, Asmongold, don't sexualize women. First of all, Asmond, why do you make us guys look so bad? Like we're only playing video games to fucking bust it to the characters. Why do you make yourself look bad by saying that? That's my initial thoughts. But since I am an advocate of speech and context, maybe this take was entirely reasonable if we look at the entire monologue. Which we will. Let us look at what led up to this take and let him explain a take. Because I don't want to jump on a dude for saying something offbeat. Or beat off in this case. Beat off his meat too.
And if I look up Marathon, here we go. Marathon is Alpha's application, completely unnecessary gender identity question. It doesn't matter if male or female.
This game was about pushing gender identity questions? Maybe I missed it. Maybe I'm just missing the entire point of it. But Marathon, the first ever game they made, was about being unique. They invented aiming with the mouse, you know? So, in my opinion, what they're doing here is just trying to make a unique style that will be instantly recognizable, you know? They're not trying to, in my opinion at least, they're not trying to push some sociological ideas onto you, but they're trying to make a game really stand out, so if the gameplay is good, everyone will recognize it immediately. That seems like a business move from my part.
And so, anyway, you've had a lot of people that have been pretty negative about it, right? This is beautiful, this is not. I mean, again, making characters that look really weird like this, I do think it's over-designed in a way that doesn't really appeal to anyone. I do, right? It's kind of hot. Yeah, I don't know about that, really kind of depends, but like, in a...
What do you mean by appeal? It fits the universe. I don't know what you mean, that looks appealing to me. She's like a punkish, futuristic woman. I don't know.
I think that Western game developers, and this is just like a huge problem, Western game developers are like almost afraid to make conventionally attractive female characters. And so they make these characters that have like kind of like a very like this is like a rave girl personality or some other variation of that. And they're not just using a traditional, you know, you take a hot girl with decent proportions with a pretty face and just go with that, right?
How is that bad? You just instantly told, you, by her visual design, you assigned something to her. You said, she seems like a rave girl. Her visuals told you something, or made you think about something. It kinda succeeded, don't you think? Her visuals told the story. Without, so what if it was just a generic, good-looking woman? Huh, generic, good-looking woman. Okay. That doesn't really succeed in telling a story. Is that the big point? Woman, no huge booba. I cannot goon to her. Is that the point?
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of the female characters that are made in like Western development studios do have like an androgynous vibe to it, and I find it to be kind of off-putting. And I think it's...
This woman doesn't have a narrow waist and huge bazookas. What the hell? I cannot play this game now. Okay, I'm sure there are games that push like a sociological, or what the fuck, I don't know. There are games that push like a sociological, leftist, super liberal idea. I'm not disagreeing with that. As well as there are games that push like a super sexualized idea. Why are we looking at the extreme? Let's look in the middle. The vast majority of games just look normal, you know, even Counter-Strike with its female skins or women skins. Just woman in a military suit. Nobody gives a fuck. There are plenty of games that still have, you know, a good-looking woman, and if that's something you want to play, fine, go play that. I don't think that's a good measurement of visual prowess. I don't know.
It's like it's really a big shock when you see it compared to like something like Marvel Rivals, because I think Marvel Rivals, the style quality and everything is just a lot better. Like, this is okay.
I see your point, Asmongold, but I don't think that's a fair comparison because Marvel Rivals didn't invent their own characters. They used already well-known IPs and their characters that they've been making for years that already have a brand. I think Overwatch would be a better example. At the start, they had to tell a lot with just their visuals. Okay, glad we're posting on this screenshot. I think these look fine. You have like the guy on the right, which looks like, I don't know, maybe some roguish, futuristic archetype because of his like black hood, oh so emo, and his sleek clothes. I think that's a fine job. That looks like, you know, a rogue. The person on the left, I don't know, that's too futuristic.
I don't see this being appealing, right? Like, I mean, it this isn't like, I don't see people wanting to cosplay these characters. I don't see people like really being that interested in them at all. They don't have like a they're not compelling in a way. So yeah, I mean, I think that's like that's the main thing that I usually go by is like, are the people like, will people cosplay these characters?
If the game is good and the people think the characters are cool, they're gonna cosplay. What?
And so some of the other armored characters are pretty decent, and you see like a lot of comparisons of this as well. But anyway, so in general, I think that the character design is, again, I can definitely see why people are comparing it to Concord. It's very, it's like, it's weird in a way.
You're saying that, okay, weird and unique are essentially two sides of the same coin. The weirdness becomes a benefit if the game is good, because now it looks unique. But if it's bad, it's weird. How is that bad? And what do you mean by appeal? If a character tells a story by just how it looks, that's a great thing. Okay, imagine you have just attractive woman character. What does that tell you? Not much. Imagine you have a character that like, imagine you have a knight that like wears dark scale plate armor, maybe like some bear hide, just thorns everywhere, wielding a double axe. What does that tell you? He's a battle-hardened barbarian that kills animals, and he looks tough. Very stereotypical, but it's still a better design than just attractive woman 101. Because it tells a story. Just pure sexual appeal is not something you should measure this by. I don't know if that's how you're measuring it, and I don't know if that's what you mean by appeal. But if you do, that's a bad way to measure.
Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah, it's like, I don't know why, like, American game studios have such like, I think the reason why, and, like, maybe this is just, like, me, like, you know, every problem looks like a nail, but, like, I think the reason why is because they don't want to push traditional beauty standards with games, and so they try to create these, like, weird androgynous characters that are still compelling, and I just think that doesn't land with a lot of people. It doesn't land with people, it doesn't resonate with anyone, and I think it's weird. There's no grit to it. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, if you, like, in my opinion, like, there are some exceptions, but I think that as a general rule, if you can't tell what gender a character is, you've made a mistake. You've made a mistake. It's nobody wants to see that. People are not interested in that. Like, yeah, you should have some femboys and some some, you know, like yeah.
I don't know why do we bring gender into this? If you cannot tell if you cannot tell anything about a character from their looks, I think that's bad visual or artistic design. But I don't know why we bring gender into this. Like, whether it's a dude or a woman in that barbarian dress, you can still say it's a barbarian. You don't even have to show the face. And if you say, yeah, but on the female barbarian, the titties aren't big enough. That's just a dumb take.
And they're going, like, these characters are absolutely gendered characters. And this is the problem, is like, if you, the fact that you think that there's even a discussion about that shows that there's a big problem. These are absolutely gendered characters, and everybody is going to play it with that mindset, like, in the front of their mind. And so if you don't do that, yeah, 2B's an android, but people can tell what...
Asmongold, because I'm sure you're watching this, of course, do you go into playing a video game and the first thing you think about isn't the story, but can I see the bazonkas in the first-person model? I have to think about the gender and how I'm present. What? Why is that at the forefront? You legit said, why is that at the forefront of how you play? I'm gonna pick my character based off the class and maybe the drip, and not the gender. Though I usually play guys. Ha, sausage fest.
And again, like, I think that pretty much every single circumstance, it's always a bad idea to make characters that are not conventionally attractive. Because this is, again, this is a shooter game, and shooter games are going to be primarily played by men. So if you're making a shooter game that's primarily made for men, then you should make sure that all of the female characters in the game are fuckable. And I know this might sound crazy to say, but I'm just going to say it. That's what you should do. That's what you should do. Because that's what people want to do. That's what girls will cosplay. Girls don't want to cosplay ugly, weird-looking, androgynous, creepy characters.
How do you manage to put every single person you're talking about into like a preconceived, unnuanced box? Yeah, guys just want to play video games with bad bitches, and women want to look like bad bitches. Okay, so the people who cosplay, I don't know, fucking Optimus Prime, do they want to put their dicks in the exhaust pipe? No, they're just cosplaying it because it's cool. Same with women, if they cosplay like a horror character. If they want to do it in a slutty way, sure. They want to do it in a creepy way, sure. Why is this a talking point? Why do you... Okay. Let me look in and look at this from the best possible angle. Okay. If you have a game that has, like, you know, I don't know, maybe hella slightly sexualized models, you are more likely to get like a guaranteed audience of gooners. So maybe because you're not getting that potential audience, that's bad. But at the same time, what if that just doesn't fit the game you're trying to make? You shouldn't, maybe I'm just too optimistic, but you shouldn't try and sacrifice your artistic vision in order to please the gooners. And why do you put all guys in that? Like, bro, you're making it worse for all of us. Yeah, guys just want to beat their shit to... I don't know, I'm talking like more critical. Yeah, guys just want to beat their shit to bad bitches on video games. Oh my god, shut up.
All of that, like, think about how much advertising Marvel Rivals gets because of how many girls try to cosplay the characters. The girl...
Think of how much advertising this game gets because it looks unique.
They really miss the opportunity to do that. And everybody thinks that, like, and I the reason why I say this is because, like, I'm already assumed to be the king of the incels, right?
First of all, why is that a title you're proud of? I'm the king of the incels. Yes, king, preach.
I feel like I can say this and nobody's surprised. The fact is that I'm right. I'm right, even if you don't want me to be right, even if you think that I shouldn't be right, even if you think that this is the wrong way of looking at things, I can tell you time and time again, example and example again, every single time this turns out to be true. And if you're making a game and you want it to sell, you need to follow these principles.
But for every example you bring of that being the case, I can bring a counterexample of non-sexualized games also doing good. I don't know, Brawlhalla, fucking Civilizations games, just the real-time strategy games. Or, okay, shooters. Okay, let's talk about CSGO. That's a popular game and it has no, I don't know, not that I can think of, it has no sexual or fuckable woman, using Asmongold's language. But the biggest thing that pisses me off is that why do you say I'm right? That's such a stupid take. That you're locking yourself up in your little echo chamber, and you're not even looking at what possible things there are. And that's such a bad take. I will never support that. For any side. If you're like on the right, I hate to bring politics in this, but if you're like a conservative, liberal, whoever the fuck, and you look at the other side like they're always wrong and you're gonna be right, that's the wrong way to. Wow, that's not a good way to look at things. It's better to just acknowledge that you may have some valid points, and the other people might have some valid points as well, and then talk about them. Don't come in with the idea that you're right, because that leads to nowhere. That's the equivalent of me going, what do you say? La 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 la, I'm right, you're wrong. La 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 la. That's stupid. I'd rather listen to your points, not even to agree with them maybe, but because of your points, I can look at the way I think in a different perspective, and then adjust, reevaluate, and refine my way of thinking. And you will do the same to yours. So just saying I'm right, if I ever do that, shoot. If I ever do that unironically, shoot me.
You're half right. Why would anyone want a fuckable character? I just want hot characters to look at and not one to simp after. I think that having a character that's fuckable is one way of saying it, but a better way of saying it is having a character that you feel is visually appealing and visually enticing.
Yes! That's absolutely the correct way to say it. And they don't mean the same thing at all. Asmongold. Yes! My Incel King, you're so right. Characters that are appealing, absolutely. But appealing does not mean fuckable. Example. Imagine you had a cast of, you're playing, your standard video game, you have like mage, tank, rogue, blah, 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 blah. You have your cast of heroes, and they're all women in bikinis. All of them, bad bitches, I guess. And you'll be like, yeah, they're all fuckable, but none of them are appealing. Let's say the only differentiate between them is like, maybe a mage has a blue bikini and a barbarian or a tank has a green bikini. How is that appealing? They all mesh in together. If they're just, by your account, they're all super fuckable. On the opposite side, let's say you have, not even showing their faces, not even showing their bodies, you have the tank class, which is like super big, bulky, having a plate armor, scale mail, having a huge hammer and a huge helmet. That's a tank. Then you have like a mage with like the stereotypical pointy hat, not like that one, not the white one. You see, the characters I described aren't, sexually fuckable, but they are a lot more appealing than yours, or the bikini ones, which are fuckable, but aren't appealing because they're meshed together. Appeal comes in storytelling, not in, sexual desire. Holy fuck, I drop a banger like that once in a while. It's like Shakespeare comes through me. Pause. Genuinely. Damn. Subscribe for that one. Crazy plug. Also, I have to plug it right now if I'm at it. Comment something, because I haven't been uploading lately, so the YouTube algorithm is punishing me. So I beg you, comment and like. But let's continue.
So we'll have to wait and see. Any demos or anything like that for this game, I will absolutely play. So we'll just have to wait and see when it actually.
Look at that. W Asmongold, not discounting a game because of the looks. But still, that take of all characters in game, the characters should be fuckable enough. Terrible. All characters should be appealing? Yes. All characters should tell a story? Yes. Why didn't you say that? Why did you... You know what? Who am I to doubt that? What was it called? Incel King. He's the king. You're the king? I'm the king. Holy fuck, that's a dead meme. Alright, either way, new videos coming soon, dark and darker. And that's about it for this one. Like, comment, subscribe. Love you. Sleep well. Bye.